Welcome to SportChaser, taking on DC, running it back for the second time now. Last time I had my good friend AJ on. This time, sorry, you're just going to have to enjoy my face. Just me this time. SportChaser takes on DC. Last time, just talk Commanders. This time, talking everything DC. At least the teams that are in season. We're not going to be talking about the Nationals or DC United or those teams. Just going to be getting into the Washington Capitals, the Washington Commanders, and the Washington Wizards today. Starting off, let's start off with the hot team this time. The Washington Capitals finally are looking good this season. Had a really, really slow start to the season. And I mean a really slow start. We looked like one of the worst teams in the league. The Washington Capitals are known for our offensive scoring abilities, especially given the fact that we have arguably the greatest goal scorer of all time in Alexander Ovechkin. Started off with the second lowest points scored in the entire NHL across the first week or so, across the first 2 or so weeks of the season. In our last 9 games, the Washington Capitals have won 7 of those, and 1 of those have been an overtime loss. 7-1-1 in our last 9, arguably one of the hottest teams in the league, up there with Vancouver, who I talked about on my other show, up there with Boston, who just, I mean, can you even call them hot if they're always at that level? I don't know. But the Washington Capitals, nonetheless, have moved up from one of the worst teams in the league to second in the Metropolitan Division, only behind the New York Rangers, who have been very good so far this season. Our most recent win was a shutout against the former Stanley Cup champions and reigning Stanley Cup champions, actually, the Vegas Golden Knights, in which we shut them out. Charlie Lindgren played phenomenal in a 3-0 victory over the team. That they are the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, by the way. They're tied with the Vancouver Canucks, but they're number 1, and the Washington Capitals made them look silly. A shutout against the reigning Stanley Cup champions. Phenomenal game. The Washington all around. Offensively, there were struggles, but defensively, picked it up big time. Got the shutout, got the win. Moving on from one of the worst teams in the league to second in the division. In the last 9 games, I just mentioned that the Washington Capitals were the second lowest scoring team in the NHL, averaging about 2 goals a game. In our last 9, during our 7-1-1 stretch, the Washington Capitals are averaging 3.1 goals per game and are only allowing 2 goals per game, while allowing 0 goals to opponents on the power play, meaning when we get penalties, we've been able to stop the power play. Our penalty kill has been incredible during this run, and the points have been fairly distributed evenly across the Washington Capitals. There's lots of guys who have 6 points, 7 points, 5 points, 4 points in the 9-game stretch, and Alexander Ovechkin, our captain, leads the way with 8 points per game. With 8 points in this time span of this 9-game stretch. So, with that being said, I mean, even Darcy Kemper has an assist for us. That's saying something when your goalie has an assist. But moving on from that, the star of our season, the star of our last 9 games, despite only playing in 3 games in those 9 games, Charlie Lindgren, the goaltender, who came in as, he's been our backup this season, but he has had a phenomenal stretch. In his 3 games that he's played out of the 9, he's allowing, on average, 1 goal a game. He has 1 shutout, which came against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, the Vegas Golden Knights, and he has a near 97% save percentage. I'm going to let that sink in a minute. 97% save percentage. That is incredible. Defensively, we look good, but Charlie Lindgren has been the man who we have put our trust in to get us wins, and he's done it game in and game out. He's 3-0 in his 3 games that he's played over the last 9. And when you're only allowing 1 goal on average a game, it's hard to lose, really. The Washington Capitals, despite offensively struggling a little bit, have looked phenomenal, and a big, big, big reason for that has been thanks to Charlie Lindgren. Can the Washington Capitals keep this hot streak going? Can they make the playoffs? Can we stay a top 3 seed? We're one of the oldest teams in the league. Now we are one of the hottest teams in the league. So can the Washington Capitals continue this hot streak, continue their playoff push, and exceed expectations after everyone coming into the season said the Washington Capitals are washed, Ovechkin's too old? All of that remains to be seen. But after these last 9 games, I have extremely high hopes for this team. My faith is higher than it's ever been this season. And I'm so looking forward to see if Ovechkin can make the playoffs, continue to be on a contending team in Washington, and make the Stanley Cup. There's a lot of time left between now and then. Who knows? Anything can happen. But can we get Ovi another ring? That's obviously the goal. I would love to see Ovechkin holding up another Stanley Cup. Hopefully this time home in Washington instead of in Vegas when they won it last time. I would love to see that. Things are looking bright in Washington, at least for the Capitals. Moving on to the Washington Commanders, another team who has a lot of optimism going, but there's too many struggles. Defensively, we had a very close loss to the Seattle Seahawks, a game in which both teams had struggles, and lots of them. And all of them came defensively for both teams. Washington, when it mattered most, when it came down to the wire, put our trust in Sam Howell, who led us on a game-tying drive to score a touchdown with a minute left in the game. The ball to De'Ami Brown, scored a touchdown, tying the game with Seattle at 26. Seattle then had less than a minute to go full field to get in field goal range or scoring range of any sort. And defensively, we had no answer. The Seattle Seahawks made us look like a peewee football team. They were able to get pass here, pass there, pass there, pass there, timeout, field goal, game over. It was unbelievable. Washington's defense has no stop for any offense that is somewhat capable of playing in the NFL. It's pathetic. It's sad to see, especially because of how good our offense has been. And by offense, I mean Sam Howell. Sam Howell leads the league in passing yards, for those of you who didn't know. More than Patrick Mahomes, more than C.J. Stroud, who I mentioned in my other show is number 2. More than Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua. More than any of those guys. Sam Howell is the number 1 in passing yards, period. Sam Howell. He's our future. He's an amazing quarterback. John Allen himself said that he is the quarterback of the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe even longer than 5 to 10 years. Sam Howell is incredible. He's also the 5th most passing touchdowns in the entire league. One of those guys above him is Kirk Cousins, who that just shows you how impressive Kirk Cousins was before his injury, which is sad to see. Former Commander, sad to see. But Sam Howell is the future for the Washington Commanders. I love the guy, but it's hard to drop 30 points every single time. The Washington Commanders defense has been absolutely atrocious. Aside from just the Seattle game, let me give you some numbers. The Washington Commanders allow the 4th most yards per game. We allow nearly 400 yards per game. We allow 380 yards per game, meaning that if we want to win, we likely have to compete with those numbers, and Sam Howell has been. We allow the 2nd most points per game at 27.4 points per game. No, it's really the most, because the team who allows more points per game than us is the Denver Broncos, who in week 3 let 70 points to the Miami Dolphins. So their numbers skewed a little bit. If you take out the outlier of the 70-point game dropped on the Denver Broncos, that number would be much lower, and we would be allowing the most points in the entire league. Our secondary needs work. Our D-line needs work. Our linebackers need work. All of our linebackers have struggled mightily. The tackles have been pathetic, to say the least. Defensively, we need a lot of help. It starts with Jack Del Rio. He needs to go. He is the biggest problem for this team. I've said before that Ron Rivera needs to go, and I still believe he does. He is not the main issue. Jack Del Rio is. The rest of the defense is. But the problem is the future is so bright. Sam Howell is so good. I hate to see that we're allowing an incredible season from Sam Howell go to waste because our defense cannot handle a competent offense. It's pathetic to see. It's sad to see. But nonetheless, I'm excited for the Commanders moving forward in the future. I'm excited to see Sam Howell's career. I need to get that jersey. I need a Sam Howell jersey. ASAP. The Washington Wizards, another team who have struggled defensively, and another team who have looked solid offensively. What else is new in Washington? But the Washington Wizards are tied for the 2nd worst record in the league, tied with the Memphis Grizzlies. The only team worse is the Detroit Pistons. 2 wins on the year in 10 games. Wizards need to step up. It is a rebuild year, so I can't say my expectations for this team were that high. But again, some wins would be nice, you know? Anyways, we have the 8th highest points per game, but we allow the 3rd most points per game. And we have the 2nd lowest plus minus in the league, meaning that we just look silly out there. We just played the Dallas Mavericks, who were Kyrie Irvingless, and we had 3 guys drop 20 points on us. We had 6 guys drop double digits on us, including Grant Williams, Derrick Jones. In case you guys don't remember who Derrick Jones is, he won the slam dunk contest a few years ago, and that may have been the only time that a lot of you have ever heard of him. Derek Lively, who has looked fairly good so far in his rookie season. Luka Doncic. Tim Hardaway Jr. dropped 31 points on us, and Seth Curry, Steph's little brother, dropped 15 in just 20 minutes. Defensively, this team needs work. Offensively, the team's been fine. It's been very diverse. The love has been spread. We had 8 scorers have 10 or more points in the game against the Dallas Mavericks, and still we lost. That just is unacceptable. The defense needs to step up. Kyle Kuzma has been amazing so far this season, averaging 24 points per game. Jordan Poole has been, I would say, fairly disappointing so far since trading for him from the Warriors. It's been fairly disappointing, only averaging 16 points per game. He's had good games. He's had a lot of bad games. He's inconsistent. His efficiency is not there. Needs work. Daniel Gafford leads our team in rebounds at 7. I love Daniel Gafford. He's so consistently good. Love that guy. Tyus Jones has been a good addition for us, but we'll probably trade him at the deadline, sell to a team that actually is contending, that needs a point guard of his caliber, because we are nowhere close to contending. The future's hopefully going to be bright, going to be a long season, a long couple of seasons. Hopefully get some good draft picks. Hopefully actually those draft picks pan out. This goes for the Wizards, and now that I'm thinking about the Commanders too, and even the Washington Capitals. All of those teams. The young guys need to execute. And moving forward, it's a bright future in Washington all the way around. The Wizards are going to have a much slower road to that bright future. But the Commanders offensively are there. The Capitals, the future is now. We don't really have a future past the now. We are one of the oldest teams in the league. Now is the time when we need to capitalize the most and hopefully make that playoff push, make some moves at the deadline, make some win-now moves if we're still in a position where we believe that we can contend for a Stanley Cup. It's time to win. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed me talking about the Capitals and the Wizards finally. Talked about the Commanders again. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts on Sam Howell. Do you think he's a top 10 quarterback already? Might be talking about that on my next show. But let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed. If you want to join next time, stay tuned. Let me know. Follow the socials. SportChaser on Instagram and TikTok. I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.